What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So as you've seen by the thumbnail, we got some things to talk about, but first I want to do a quick rundown on where we're at with Casper, bring you up to date so that we can get this ball rolling. As you can see here, the transmission is done. Everything went together perfect. The in play was perfect. I got the clutch clearances set. I feel really good about it. This is a cooler setup that was sent to me by Dynamic Racing. I bought it from them because I want to mount the cooler underneath the truck towards the back to move as much weight as I possibly can to the rear of the truck while I'm putting this thing together. So we're making progress on that. What do we need in order to get this thing, the engine and transmission, in Casper? Let's take a look. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a Milodon competition oil pan, part number 31847. So in the dyno video, which let's take a look at it now, and that way I can show you what's going on. So you remember yesterday and earlier in the video when I told you that we didn't have leaks? Guess what? Another new parts failed. See that right down there? If you look right here along this weld, this is a brand new oil pan and it's leaking at the weld right there. So I'm going, after this is over with, I'm going to get in contact with Milodon and see if we can't get something resolved on this, because yeah, no bueno right there. Alright, so you've seen that it was leaking all along this ledge right here. That's a problem. I cannot put this engine in Casper with it like that. In fact, that is the last thing of holding me from dropping this thing in. What are we to do about it? So honestly, there is nothing like having a new parts fail, especially when you're on the dyno. Luckily for us, it wasn't leaking bad enough that we had to stop our dyno testing, and that would have been horrible. But after the dyno session was over, you got to remember this was a few months back. This is where it becomes my fault. I had to work a bunch, had a lot of stuff going on with the family, and I have a one-track mind, if you can believe that. I'm just throwing that out there. So my next thought of concern was getting this transmission put together, and then I figured I would deal with that later. I called Milodon up, told them about the problem. I didn't even tell them about my YouTube channel, and this is something that's pretty important to me, because I was just a regular customer just like you. I didn't say I'm Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage, none of that. I just told them the situation of what happened, and they were going to bend over backwards to help me out get this pan fixed and get me a new one. The problem is we are 75 days away from the No Name Nationals, and the biggest hurdle I have yet to overcome is once the engine and transmission is in Casper, I've got to have headers built for it. And so I don't have time for a month's turnaround, because let me explain to you what's happening. They wanted me to send that pan back, which is understandable, show them exactly where the defect was, and then they were going to ship me a new pan back to me. So we're looking a week out there to California, because I'm in North Carolina, possibly a week until they put the other one in the mail, and another week for it to get back here. So that's 3 weeks. That's not good, especially with only 75 days to go. And on top of that, coming up, I've got to go out of town for a week for work. So once I lose that time, I can't get it back. Now it's becoming the race to get to the race. I feel for anyone who is thrashing at the last minute trying to get things done, because parts availability it's a big deal right now. Luckily fingers crossed, I feel like I have about everything that I need to get Casper put back together. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to need the odds and ends, little nitpicky stuff, but I can fumble my way through that because I've been in that situation before. So what do we do with this oil pan to make it right? Because Milodon, they were going to take care of it and fix it, give me a new one, which I think is awesome customer service. I have used Milodon pans, gosh, probably 25 years. In fact, on my Plymouth Duster, that was the first aftermarket oil pan that I ever bought, was a Milodon. So, you know, I've never had an issue with one of them leaking until now. And it could have been just a simple oversight. I don't know. But either way, they're going to take care of it, and I think that says a lot about their company. This gets to the part that I don't like, but I've got to take that pan off, and I've made the decision that we're going to fix it here. Now, I don't have a welder here at my little garage. I don't. And to be honest, I'm not the greatest welder. You know, I am not. It's probably been 12 years since I struck an arc. But I've got one of the best welders that I do know, hands down, nearby to me. It's my own brother-in-law. So I'm going to get that oil pan off of Mixed Up Boss. We're going to take a trip over to my brother-in-law, Joe Waters' house, and we're going to try to fix this oil pan. So the first order of business was to load up the oil pan in the 7-cylinder Crown Vic. Yes, it's still running on 7 cylinders. But when I did this, I started thinking as I started driving. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Joe Waters. Not only is he my brother-in-law, but once upon a time, he was actually my business partner. You see, we actually opened a garage years ago. It was called Crossroads Performance. Now, we did fabrication work, we did automotive work. The cars that we worked on were something really special. He was a Chevrolet man, and of course I'm the Ford man of the bunch, but I didn't hold that against him. I wish I'd have taken more pictures, but the cool part about this time period, that's when I had both of my girls. So it was a very special time, and even though we closed the shop sometime in 2010, you know, things change. I went back to work at Freightliner, and it is what it is. Joe has always been a great brother-in-law, and he was a great business partner. But he's always been a welder by trade, and his welding skills are pretty much second to none. So when I get over to his house, it was really funny. You know, I told him that I wanted him to be on video. Well, he didn't quite like the idea. He was camera shy, but I won't hold that against him. So as you can see, he was just, yeah, he didn't even want to talk about it, you know. But he did great, and maybe I can eventually get him on camera. So the first order of business we had was to figure out where this Milodon oil pan was actually leaking from. We sprayed brake clean, looking to try to find out the actual leaking spot, which we did, but it became even more obvious once we shined a light through the inside, and you can actually see the light on the outside. So once we come up with that, Joe did his magic and welded it up. Man, it did turn out perfect. The cool part about it was, after he finished up, we just sat out in front of his garage and talked for like 45 minutes just catching up. And when you think about it, it's all about family. And I'm so proud that he actually has a part of Mixed Up Boss with his welding, you know, because that's something special and sentimental to me. I just got back. We had a great time over there. Me and Joe just hanging out, him fixing my oil pan. So let's take a look at it so you can be the judge of how it turned out. As you can see, the weld, man, it looks so much better. We actually checked the rails for straightness. We made sure that the pan didn't leak before I come home. And then I stopped by local parts store and picked up this VHT engine metallic. For those interested, it is Gold Flake. SP404 is the code. I am really shocked because the color matches the rest of the pan almost perfectly, and I only painted this area. It turned out really well. Where do we go from here? So once again, I've got to put this pan back on mixed up balls. I've got to get ready to put the transmission in first because the tunnel ram is on it and I can't get it pitched at the right angle to put the motor and trans in together. So the next video series you see is going to be transmission going in along with the engine, getting it mounted. And I want to try to get as much of the work accomplished before I take it and have the headers built. That way, as soon as the headers are built, it's ready to fire up. Then we can start driving it, take it to the track and shake it down. And I've only got 75 days to get all of this done. Sounds like a long time, but really it's not. So I hope you enjoyed this little new parts fail video. We made it right, but Milodon was going to go the extra mile to take care of us. But you got to do what you got to do when times are desperate. So until next time, this is Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage. I'll catch you later.